مرحى يا شهر الإيمان، مرحى يا شهر الإيمان. هل هلالك يا رمضان، مرحى يا شهر الإيمان، مرحى يا شهر الإيمان، مرحى يا شهر الإيمان.
Oh my! Subhanallah walhamdulillah wa la ilaha illallah wallahu akbar. God is truly great, I tell you. Oh, assalamu alaikum and welcome my explorer friends. I'm Ibn Haytham and this is my marvelous telescope. It's special because it goes back in time and can visit any place you can think of. I sit here night after night admiring Allah's wonderful creation. Oh, what's that sound? Come, let's take a look and see. Subhanallah! It's the magnificent Eiffel Tower in France. France, in Western Europe, includes medieval cities, alpine villages, and Mediterranean beaches. Paris is its capital and is known for its fashion houses, museums, including the Louvre, and famous places like the Eiffel Tower. The country is also known for its tasty food and drink. These scallops look tasty. Scallops are seafood, of course. Very yummy. France, like many other countries in Europe, became a country in the year 486, which makes it very, very old. Before this time, it was ruled by the Romans. That was until people from Germany, known as the Franks, swept in and took over this huge piece of land. France is now a republic, which means there are no kings and queens who rule this country. Instead, people choose who they want to lead them by voting for someone. I'm sure you all know about the Eiffel Tower. It is tall, beautiful, and everyone knows it. Have you ever visited the Eiffel Tower and gone right to the top though? I would love to do that. The Eiffel Tower is an amazing building. The people who ruled France at that time held a competition to find someone who could plan and design a building that would remind people all about the French Revolution. More than 100 plans and designs were given to the rulers of France, and the person who won was an engineer named Gustave Eiffel. At night, the Eiffel Tower is wonderfully lit up. It looks so sparkly and magnificent, like a metal Christmas tree. Nothing like the Eiffel Tower had ever been built. It was twice as high as the Dome of St. Peter's in Rome and even the Great Pyramid of Giza. The tower took 2 years to build, and not that many people were needed to build it, would you believe? It is a truly magnificent building. Tourists from all over the world come to visit and climb up the tower. The tower itself is 300 meters high. Yes, I know, it's really tall. There is a famous cathedral in Paris called the Notre Dame, and it's so beautiful at night, and these little boats bring people up and down the river Seine. What a great way to see the wonderful building. A cathedral is like a huge church, and this one attracts many visitors. The Notre Dame lies at the eastern end of the Ile de la Cité, and was built on the ruins of two earlier churches. The cathedral was started by Maurice de Sully, Bishop of Paris, who in about 1160 came up with the idea of changing it into one building. The first stone was laid by Pope Alexander III in 1163. Subhanallah. France is only really a boat ride away, which makes me wonder, should I hop on one now and visit these cool places? Allah created the gorgeous world and everything in it. It's been said that it's impossible to see the whole world in our lifetime, but it doesn't mean we shouldn't try. I am going to search for more and more of Allah's wonderful creations within this universe. So until next time, my explorer friends, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum everybody, it's me Baraka B. Why don't you come and learn with me? Do you know what the word of the day is? Let's have a look and see. Today, the word of the day is ismi. Let's say ismi together. Ismi, ismi. Masha Allah, stunning. Well done. This word can be used when you want to tell someone your name. It means my name is. Let's use it in a sentence now. Ismi Zahra. What's your name? Maybe you can use it in a sentence today. I'm going to take my honeycomb and make some honey at home. Make sure you use the word you've learned today, which is as sweet as honey. See you next time, inshallah.
One day, the Caliph enters Baghdad's graveyard.
Oh, it's you, Bahlul. What are you doing here? Salamu Khalif. I like to visit graveyards. People here are good friends. You see, they don't backbite. While I was here, I was curious to know what the skull of a Khalif looks like. But Khalifs or poor people, they're all the same.
Bahlul, what are these markings on your stick for?
Oh, those? That's for measuring the depth of the grave, silly.
Grave's depth, eh? What did you find?
I get 3 arms length of earth in spite of my poverty, and you get 3 arms length of earth in spite of your wealth.
We have all come from the same place and we will return to Allah one day. Whether we are rich or poor, famous or ordinary, wise or foolish, one day we will return to our Lord with nothing but our deeds. This is why it is so important to be humble, to remember that our status or wealth does not make us better than others, but that rather these are the favours from Allah. So whilst in this world, let us encourage each other to do good deeds with the intention of pleasing our Lord.
التزم طوبى للنفس بتقواها.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. Assalamu alaikum, Pip.
Alaikum salam.
Assalamu alaikum, children.
Assalamu alaikum, children.
How are you finding Ramadan? Ramadan.
Finding Pip.
Pip?
Pips.
Pip, are you okay? Is the fast getting to you?
Is a pot.
Are you
Can
okay?
you hear that?
Hear what?
The silence.
That's very deep. Have you been reading poetry?
No, just been listening to your jokes.
Oh, thank you, I think. Would you like to hear another joke?
No.
Are you sure?
How's your slow going?
My slow?
Yeah.
Oh, are you making a joke because I said how's your fast going?
What?
You're very funny, Pip.
Ask me again.
Okay, how's your fast going?
Slow.
How's your slow going?
What?
You asked me that.
What are you?
Okay, let's move on.
That
Pip.
doesn't even make sense.
I'm sorry, Pip. Okay, Pip, can
No,
you
wait, what was it?
go on?
What does that mean?
What does what mean?
What do you mean?
Well, a fast is what you do when you keep a fast. You don't eat from sunrise to sunset
So why is it called a fast?
because that's just what it's called. You're fasting.
I just realised something.
Go on.
Breakfast.
Exactly, break fast. So when we have breakfast, we're breaking the fast that we've been having throughout our sleep because we haven't been eating when we're sleeping.
Oh.
But that's
What about brunch?
brunch is breakfast and lunch.
Oh.
But you know what? That's beside the point.
No, I think that's very side the point.
Okay, well, Pip, it seems that the fast might be getting to you.
What's getting to me?
As in, you know, when you haven't.
I'll have you know, I am very fast.
Okay. Well, can you tell me a little bit about.
Well, let's listen to me first.
Okay.
Last time we were speaking about, knowledge
Yeah.
and going everywhere, and I told my mum, you know what, Mum, I actually don't mind going to Mr. Sesame's house.
And have you been going?
Yeah, but she said to me, Pip, I'm so proud.
What did you say?
Pip, I'm so proud.
Is that how she speaks?
No, but I just like using that voice.
Okay, well, why shouldn't she be proud of you?
Well, she gave me a very, very nice hadith.
What hadith did she give you?
You know what a hadith is, Mr. Faraz?
I do. Do you know what it is?
Do you know what it is? Yes, it's a narration from the Prophet and the Ahlul Bayt.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. What hadith did she give you?
Are you ready to listen to it?
I'm
She
ready.
said the Prophet said you should seek knowledge from your cradle to your grave, even if you have to go to
China?
Chennai. Well, no, Chennai's in India. China.
China, wow.
Why? So basically, that means that I'm going to go find a Quran teacher in China.
Well, if you want to, you can. Nothing's stopping you, except maybe your school.
BRB.
But wait, you're at school, Pip. Don't you have responsibilities, stuff that you need to be doing?
My mum said it's a figure of
Speech.
speech.
Ah, yeah.
What's a figure of speech?
It's like when you say something which isn't necessarily true, as in you're not going to go all the way to China, but you take the message from it. So what do you mean when somebody says to you, go China, what do you think? That's very
China-ish.
no, very far. Get it?
What if you live in China?
Well, then they probably say seek knowledge even if you have to go to Monsterland.
Why not India?
India's very close to China.
Monsterland's quite...
Well, okay, Pip. Okay.
The point is
Yes.
that, to be honest with you now,
Go on.
I've got my knowledge. And I've just recently been promoted
To what?
to the student counsellor at Monster School. So
Wow.
please refer to me as Pip, student counsellor.
Pip, student counselor. Wow.
Student counsellor Pip.
Student counselor Pip. Wow.
And address me looking down.
Well, I have to look down anyway. You're shorter than me.
I'll have you know I'm greater than you in rank.
You're only this tall.
You know what I don't understand?
What don't you understand?
I was there in school.
Wait, did you just say you're greater than me in rank?
Because it's all about me.
All right, I'm listening to you. Go on.
Basically, it's
Yeah.
me
All right.
and myself.
Don't you think this power's gone a bit to your head? Pip?
No, listen. No. So basically, I was there.
Okay.
And I'm like, I am the student counsellor.
Is that how you speak at school?
Yep. Now
Okay.
that I'm the student counsellor, I speak like a student counsellor.
Yeah.
And then Big Ethel Bert comes up and says,
Oh no.
Pip, you gotta do something about the bullying in the school. And I said, Big Ethel, as much as I'd like to help you, I can't help you.
Have you got like 3 different accents
No,
for
because
school?
that's what they do in the films, don't they?
Oh,
When the
okay.
sheriff comes.
Okay.
So I'm like the sheriff. I'm like, Big Ethelbert,
Oh, yeah.
as much as I'd like to help you,
Yeah.
I can't help you.
So can I speak like this?
No.
Okay.
You're not a sheriff, neither are you a student counsellor.
I'm sorry.
So Big Ethel was like, you know what? You're selfish and the power's got into your head. And I said, you know what? The power's not got into my head. The power's about my head. Because at the end of the day, I've just got to look out for myself. Now that I'm the student counsellor, I'm just going to introduce Monster Jelly onto the school meals.
Well, it seems as if power, Big Ethel Burt, she might be right.
It's a he.
Oh, sorry. He might be right. About the power going to your head.
What do you mean?
When you have
Listen, sir.
Pip. Yeah.
I got no concerns with you. I just came here to listen to a story.
Well, look,
You promised me a story.
can I speak like that?
No.
Okay. Pip, listen.
Are you a counselor?
The power has gone to your head. When you have that much power, you should be using it for good.
What you on about, son?
All right.
I'm
Well,
listening for good.
I think you need a story, Pip. And there's only one place we can turn to for a story.
And that's definitely not my power, because I'm not sharing that.
I've used this place for a story about how you should surround yourself with good people and believe in God.
Mm-hmm.
I've used this place for a story about how you should treasure your money and use it in good ways. And I've used this story to tell you about how you should always seek to learn and you should travel to the furthest places to learn if that need be.
Even if you have to go to China.
Even if you have to go to
From Sunnyside, Texas.
from China, from Texas.
Yes.
Now, there's only one place that I could have got all of these stories from.
The cave.
Yes, the Surah of the Cave.
The cave.
Surah Al-Kahf.
Surah Al-Kahf.
You said that.
Let's recite a salawat.
Go on. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. You told me that I would struggle to basically even tell you one story, and I've already told you 3. But just for you, I'm going to tell you one more. Well, let me give you some background context, Pip. Do you know what background context means?
I know what background context means.
What does it mean?
It means the background.
It means something before the story I'm about to tell you.
What does context mean?
Context means to give you a bigger picture.
Oh.
So, one day, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala
Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. One day when Islam was just starting, the Quraysh, which were the people of his town of Makkah, they said, you know what, we're not going to believe he's the prophet. We're going to go ask the Jewish people, and we're going to go ask the Jewish people whether they have any questions that they can ask Prophet Muhammad. And if the prophet gives the right answer, then maybe we'll believe that he's a prophet. So one of the questions that the Jewish people asked the prophet was, can you tell us about a man who traveled east and west? Does that make sense to you? It doesn't make sense to me. Does that make sense to you?
Well, if I wasn't there,
Yeah.
I don't think it makes sense to me.
Well, I think you're right.
I think you shouldn't do their accent because you're not a counselor.
Okay, I'm sorry. Now, it doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to you. It probably didn't even make sense to the Quraysh at that time.
But it did make sense to one man.
It did make sense to one man.
To make sense of it all.
And his name was
Prophet Muhammad.
Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam.
Allahumma
salli ala Muhammad wa ali
Oh, I
Muhammad.
love the Prophet. He's always making sense out of things which never make sense.
Exactly, he's been gifted by Allah. And the story that he told the Jewish people and the Quraysh was the story of Dhul Qarnayn.
Who? Not a my watch. Who's this man?
This man existed ages ago.
Ages?
And
Now
he was a ages like a gazillion years ago.
Dhul-Qarnayn, let me just go check my logbooks. Right. I just found out some important information.
Go on.
Dhul-Qarnayn means the one with two horns.
The one with two horns.
Yeah.
And do you know about him at all? Do you know anything?
I just know that some people think he was Alexander the Great.
Some people do.
Oh, I don't like this accent. I can't keep it.
Okay, fine. Finally, I didn't want to be the first to
Well,
say.
what you want about?
Oh, here we go. Okay. Well, anyways, Pip, whatever accent you're choosing to do, whatever state of mind you're in today, Councillor Pip, Dhul Qarnayn was such a powerful man. He was such a strong man as well. People would ask him for his help and stuff. Does that sound like you? Does that sound familiar? Aren't you quite powerful with your councillor position?
Probably.
All right, well, you know what? I don't want to know what you're doing. I'm going to tell you what Dhul Qarnayn did with his power. Then you can tell me whether you're doing something similar at school.
Okay.
So, Dhul Qarnayn, he once went to this place. And the people of the place were saying, can you help us? There are two baddies who are wreaking havoc. Do you know what wreaking havoc means?
Like wreaking havoc.
Making problems and issues.
Making loads of issues.
And their names were Gog
God,
and Magog.
like George and Majuge.
Exactly. Very, 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 very bad.
They used to like eat people alive.
What would you do if you were confronted with somebody who was going to eat you alive?
I'd be like, I don't taste like chicken. I taste like monster.
Well-
and nobody want to eat a furball.
I've heard monsters are pretty tasty.
I heard humans are pretty tasty.
Well, it's haram to you to eat a human.
I'm a monster.
I'm sure monsters are maybe halal if they're eaten in the right way.
How dare you?
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm kidding.
How
I
dare
would
you.
never eat you. I'm just getting hungry. I've been fasting all day.
And then you thought I was like a lollipop.
You look like a lollipop. You look like a blue sweet.
You look like a gobstopper.
Oh, well, you know, I'm going to take that as a compliment.
I'm going to take yours as not a compliment.
Okay. Well, anyways, I agree with you. If somebody said to me that they're going to eat me, well, I wouldn't even be brave enough to say I don't taste like chicken. I would just run away.
Yeah, if you were next to me, I'd probably throw some salt and pepper on you and say, eat him.
That's scary.
No, I was joking.
Oh, okay. But Pip, what essentially happened was Dhul Qarnayn, he had all this power. He could have just said, nope, I'm not going to help you. They're not going to eat me.
Not my issue.
Not my issue. And he would have just rode away into the sunset if he was on a horse. So he would have just walked away. But no, he had all that power. What he said was, you know what?
Can you walk into a sunset?
It's a figure of speech. Remember you told me what a figure of speech was last week?
No, you told me what it was. It's not like something not real.
Not real. So you take it as a message. So as in he's just going to walk away.
Walking away.
Essentially, he could have done that.
He would have said no.
He would have said, nope. Nope. Forget you.
I'm forgetting you.
But he didn't.
I'm going, leaving you.
He had all that power and he decided, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to help these people. And what he did was he asked for them to bring steel and other supplies, and he took Gog and he took Magog and he put them in a steel mountain cage.
Like he poured hot steel on top of it, didn't he?
Exactly.
Molten iron.
He imprisoned them.
Wow. I heard they're still alive in there.
There they are, and they will come back on the day of judgment.
Well, before that I heard.
Before that, you corrected me, I was wrong.
Because I always used to read about Gog Magog.
This is what happens when you go to Sir Samir and you have all that knowledge.
Yeah, I used to hear it all the time, but this has nothing to do with me.
Well,
I'm still a counselor.
Here's the thing.
I'm not going to listen to...
Here's the thing. You're not listening to Big Ethelbert.
I think I am listening.
You're not listening to other people.
I am listening.
You have all that power. Listen. You have all that power.
Okay.
And you're not doing anything with it. Dhul-Qarnayn teaches us is that when you have all that power, and what Allah is trying to teach us is when you have all that power, you should be using it for good.
Oh, so
Can I-
power's like money.
Power,
Share it.
exactly the story I told you with money. Can I tell you a more relevant example?
Go on.
And I know this is a man that you know very well of.
Is it Mr. Faraz?
No. Well, you know what? I'll tell you the story. I'll tell you a very quick story, and you can tell me who that man is.
Okay.
Well, one day there was this powerful man.
Yeah.
He was the leader of the town.
Okay.
You know how you said you were a sheriff?
Yeah.
He was the real sheriff.
Yeah.
And one day he walked past this house, and you know what this woman said in the house?
What?
She said she didn't know that he was the leader, but she said, I hate the leader.
Oh, it's about Imam Ali, isn't it?
Oh, don't tell children that.
Oh, sorry, children. It's about Imam Ali, but don't tell the children.
Well, the leader, he heard her saying that I hate the leader. Do you know what the leader did? He didn't tell her off. He didn't even tell her that he was the leader. He came back and every day he helped her cook her food. He helped her with her chores.
Oh.
And one day, the leader was going away from her house, and the lady, I believe her daughter, came up to her and she said, well, do you know who that guy was?
No.
The neighbor said, do you know who that is? And the lady said, no, I don't. The neighbor said, that's Imam Ali.
Wow.
That's the leader. So in the same
That's my
way,
favourite story. But, leaders should be humble. They should help people.
What else?
They should support and be of service.
Exactly. You might not think of it this way, but God has given you the position of counselor. He's given it to you for you to do good.
Yeah, maybe I should.
When you leave school, people want to remember you as Pip, the guy who changed the school for all the people.
Yes, for the monsters.
Not Pip, the baddest monster in the school.
Oh my god, I think I'm going to go do that now.
But
Thank
before you do that, Pip, because this is the last story I'm going to tell you about Surah Al-Kahf, can you tell me what you've learned over the past four stories?
Well, I think I've learned one thing definitely.
Go on.
And that's never underestimate a surah from the Quran. And Surah Al-Kahf has so many benefits. It's got so many stories which you can learn from. Like, we should spend our money in the way of Allah. We should help people who are less powerful than us. And we should be good and be spending our time with good people.
Exactly. And hopefully you'll be reading the surah on the recommended day, which is Fridays.
Yes.
And you'll be going and reading even more surahs during Ramadan.
Yeah, I will do.
And you have to promise you're going to tell me after you've read them.
Will you children as well? You will? I can't wait to hear from you and any other stories which you've learned from this magical chapter of the Quran. Till next time,
Ma
salama.
التزم طوبى للنفس بتقواها
Assalamu alaikum, dear children. Welcome to Super Sheikhs. I'm Big Sheikh Hassan.
And I'm little Sheikh Hussein.
First of all, thank you so much for sending this brilliant question.
Yes, Super Sheikh. Can naughty people go to heaven? It depends on your hasanats, because if you do lots of bad acts, you'll go to hell. If you do lots of good acts, you'll go to heaven.
Exactly. But the important thing to know is that we don't know who goes to heaven and who goes to hell. The only one who knows is
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
exactly, because He is all.
Knowing.
And if He knows everything, then I'm sure He knows who goes to heaven and who goes to hell, right?
Yeah.
The thing that we have to be sure of is that we understand that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is just. What does just mean?
I don't know.
Well, we have two things. There's something called equality, and there's something called justice, being just. Equality and justice is not the same thing.
Oh yeah, I learned about this.
Yeah, you did? So
Yeah.
what is equality?
Equality means you want everything to be equal.
Yes, exactly. So everyone to have the same thing. Justice is that everyone gets what they deserve to,
Yeah.
not the same thing, right?
Yep.
For example, if there is a wall and there are three people, right? We have one tall person, one middle, and one very short, right?
Yep.
If it's equality, then everyone gets one box to try to look over the wall, right?
Yeah.
But the short one will still not be able to look over the wall, right? And the middle one will also not be able to look over the wall.
Yep.
But if it was justice, the tall one will need none. No box, because he's tall enough to look over the wall. Whereas the middle person needs one box to look over the wall, right?
Yep.
And the short person needs two boxes to look over the wall.
2 or 3.
2 or 3. So the shorter person needs more to look over the wall. That's called justice, not equality. If it was equality, everyone would get the same thing, right?
Yep.
Hasanat and sayyat. Hasanat are good points and sayyat are bad points. That's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives for our acts, right?
Yeah.
So if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was to be equal, He would give every single human being the same points, right?
Yep.
But He is,
Just.
He gives everyone what they deserve. So if you did a lot of good hasanat, you get a lot of.
Good points.
Exactly. So if you do a lot of good acts, you get a lot of good hasanat,
Yeah.
points. And if you do a lot of bad things, then you get.
Bad hasanat. Boo.
Exactly. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't give everyone the same thing, He gives everyone what they deserve. Just like in a school test as well,
Yep.
right? If you study hard for your exam, you'll do good. Your teacher will give you good points because you studied for it.
Yep.
But if you don't study and you get an F, for example, then it's your fault because you haven't studied, right?
Yeah.
For all of those who have exams out there, study well. You'll get what you deserve.
Yep. Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Okay, so what did we talk about so far?
We talked about Allah is just not equal.
Exactly, He's just, not equal. Right?
He gives everybody what they deserve. And if you do lots of bad acts, you'll go to hell. Boo!
But you have to try and do a lot of.
Good acts.
To go to?
Yay! Heaven!
Right. If you think that people are bad and do bad things, remember, you don't know whether they go to heaven or hell. Maybe they did that bad thing only once. Maybe for the everything they did before that, when you saw them, they did all good things.
Yep.
Every human being makes mistakes, right?
Yeah. And children have the right to make mistakes.
Because you learn from mistakes, right?
Yep.
Okay. So thank you for watching. If you have any other questions, do send them in. And مع السلامة.
التزم طوبى للنفس بتقواها.
Assalamu alaikum children, welcome to another fruit news all about delicious and exciting fruits. Today's fruit news is about a fruit that you may all know very well. It has a nice taste and smell, and you have to peel it open to get to the yummy bits inside. Can you guess what it is? That's right, it's the good old banana. But don't worry, I'm not going to talk about myself. Instead, I've invited my sister Badir Banana from the local fruit garden to tell us more about bananas. So in today's fruit news, we're going to learn about where bananas come from and why they are good for us.
Assalamu alaikum, dear brother. Thank you for inviting me onto your show. It's great to be here.
Walaikum assalam, Badir. Thanks for joining us. How are you?
I am very well. I've missed you a lot.
Me too. Badir, the children at home want to know more about bananas. Perhaps you can share some information with us.
Of course. Well, bananas are first grown in tropical countries like Southeast Asia.
And afterwards, our tree was also planted in India and Iran and other countries in Asia and Africa.
That's right. Spot on.
Okay, Badir. So now that we know where you're from, I would love to know more about why it's good to eat bananas. And the children watching at home want to know too.
Well, I'm healthy for so many different reasons. I can help red blood cells to grow, and I can make you become clever.
Subhanallah, we bananas are such important fruits, just like other fruits are. Thank you so much for sharing this information with us. It's so valuable.
No problem, big brother. It was such a pleasure to be here today, and a big thank you to all the children at home who've been listening so well.
And that's about it for today. Until next time, friends, ma salama.
Let's learn Quran. Surah An-Nas.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل أعوذ برب الناس. قل أعوذ برب الناس. ملك الناس. ملك الناس. إله الناس. إله الناس. من شر الوسواس الخناس. من شر الوسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس. الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس من الجنة والناس. من الجنة والناس. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل أعوذ برب الناس. ملك الناس. إله الناس. من شر الوسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس من الجنة والناس. صدق الله العلي العظيم.
Hello and assalamu alaikum. Big Teddy isn't talking to little Teddy because apparently he cries all the time. Actually, that reminds me of another little brother who cries all the time. This story is called And Then, written by Albarozo. Oh, brother. As in, my brother. He gets all the attention, even though it's my birthday. Hey everybody, look at me. Look at my drawing. And listen, I've got a story to tell you. Once upon a time, there was a baby brother who cried and nobody paid attention to his big sister. Okay. Babies are so annoying. They cry and smell and get slimy stuff all over their big sister's toys, like a squid. And nobody seems to mind because they can't help it. Anyway, the big sister made a special birthday wish. And then, Mum and Dad were so tiny, they got chased by a huge bee, even though it was a normal-sized bee. They had to hide under a cupboard, so the bee got bored and flew away to find honey for its dinner. And then, the baby brother squid was crying. He was so hungry, but Mum was too tiny to feed him. So the big sister looked in the cupboard for squid food, but there was only crackers, which were no good because they were too salty. And then, the big sister heard a lot of crashing sounds and horrible wet slimy sounds. So she ran into the living room, and the baby brother squid was all wet and slimy and smelled really, really bad, and waving his big squid arms about and making a big mess. And then, the big sister was really clever. She knew a squid doctor lived next door, so she called the squid doctor on the telephone. The big sister knew she could use the telephone in an emergency, so she called the squid doctor. And then the squid doctor answered the telephone and was really happy because he had just bought all the things he needed to make a baby brother squid better. And he said he'd be right over, even though he just made a sandwich. And then the squid doctor knocked on the door, and the big sister asked to see his identification, just in case he was a stranger pretending to be a squid doctor. But he definitely was one, so she let him in. And then the squid doctor checked him over and said he needed some special squid food, but he didn't know what it was because he had a tummy ache in doctor school that day, so he missed that lesson. Oh no. And then the big sister knew who would know what the baby brother squid ate. Mum and Dad. So she ran into the kitchen and tried to find them, but they disappeared. Oh no. And then the squid doctor put on his special glasses and let them see really tiny things. And he found Mum and Dad sitting on half a cookie which Dad had promised to pick up last week, but he hadn't. But that was good, because they had something to eat while they were hiding. And then the big sister screwed her eyes up all tight and tried to make another wish, which she was sure she could have, as it was still her birthday and it was an emergency, and she was getting scared. So she wished as hard as she could that her mum and dad were big again, and that her baby brother wasn't a giant slimy squid anymore. But her real baby brother, who wasn't that bad, I suppose, as long as he left her toys alone. And then, wait, everybody! That's my baby brother crying. He's not such a stinky, slimy squid anymore. He's quite nice, really. Maybe he'd like to hear a story. Once upon a time, a big sister sat down with her baby brother, who smelled kind of funny, but not as bad as when he was a squid. And he was smiling at her and looking a bit cute, I suppose. Oh, that was a lovely bedtime story. What do you think, little Teddy? Big Teddy? That was nice, right? Big Teddy and little Teddy have all made up. I am so happy. Ooh, Please excuse me. I guess it's our bedtime too. Guys, it's time to say goodnight. Good night, guys. Bye.
مرحى يا شهر الإيمان، مرحى يا شهر الإيمان، هل هلالك يا رمضان، مرحى يا شهر الإيمان، مرحى يا شهر الإيمان، مرحى يا شهر الإيمان.